Hello Piano Studio, welcome back to another music theory video. My name is Mr. Banta, and today we're going to be diving further into our knowledge of chords using something called intervals. Let's take a closer look. Okay, from our last theory lessons we covered major and minor chords. Today I want to get into greater detail in how we actually make these chords in the first place. So in order to understand chords we need to understand intervals, which is just it's just the distance between two different notes. So let's bring back our C5 finger scale. It's very useful here. Okay, so now the first two intervals that I want to teach you are the major second and the major third, and they're also known as the step and the skip. Okay, so that's C to D, that's our major second, and major third, C to E. So now why do we call these major? Okay, because that's because we get these intervals from the C5 finger major scale. Okay. So before I go on to the next intervals, I just want you to remember that the major third is going to be super important when making chords, okay? C to E. Okay, so our next two intervals are going to be called something different. They're called perfect intervals. So here's the first perfect interval. It's called a perfect fourth. C to F. Okay, and the next one's my favorite. It's called the perfect fifth, C to G. And we know about C to G from our discussion on tonic and dominant. 1, 5, C and G. Perfect fifth, nice. So we call these intervals perfect because they have a more stable and secure sound, especially the perfect fifth. Compare that to perfect fourth. It's almost like in a building where you have the foundation, you have these structures. That's what our perfect fifth is. Okay, now in making the major chord, all we do is that we combine the major third and the perfect fifth together. Okay, right? We remember this from our major chord video. Okay, now we just have different names for these. This is the major third, and here's the perfect fifth. Combine them together, we get a great sound. Make sense? Okay, now I can also do this in different keys. It doesn't have to be C, it can also be in G. Let's do our major third. That's G to B. And then our perfect fifth is going to be G to D. Combine together. Nice. Let's do it for F. Perfect fifth, major third. Let's do it for D major. D major is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be just the normal white key here for F. It's going to be the black key, F sharp. D to F sharp major third, D to A. Nice. And not only do we have major seconds and major thirds, but we also have minor seconds. That's also called the half step. So we have the whole step and the half step. Major second, minor second. Okay? We can modify the second and the third so that they are minor intervals and no longer major intervals. So you would make a major second minor or a major third minor. Okay? Now, if you combine the minor third with the perfect fifth, ooh, you get yourself a minor chord. I can do it for G major. Let's turn it into G minor. have a minor third and then a perfect fifth. can do it for F major. There's our major chord. Then I can turn it into a minor chord, minor third, perfect fifth. And that is our first lesson on intervals. In the meantime, see if you can find some of these intervals in your own music and ask your teacher about them. There's a hidden wealth of knowledge in these intervals just waiting to be uncovered. Okay, so happy practicing, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.